Okay, so this mini lecture is about management by objectives, or I call MBO. Nothing new, but with a certain twist. Okay. The outline is I call MBO better by its title ZYX. We will have to achieve certain course objectives for this marketing management class. This is session Z. And we'll have to understand why we need to do marketing and how we get there. Okay. So ZYX, something that you probably have not heard of, but it's a philosophy that is really, really very useful in both the professional and personal setting. And hopefully by the end of this mini lecture, you'll also think ZYX as leaders. And ZYX is definitely better than what's more common, which I call ABC leadership. So what's ZYX? It's actually a Jesuit strategy. It's a good philosophy for personal leadership, and it can immediately unleash the leader in you. But I need your participation. Why? Because I'll give your number. You'll see it in a bit. This will be your permanent class numbers. And when you see your number, you will have to read the line that I will flash that corresponds to your number. Now, it's a little difficult because we're online. So once we start this exercise, you have to unmute your mic, and then work with the sequence of numbers. No? And when you read the assigned line that corresponds to your number, you have to read loud and proud. Okay? So the question is, what's your number? Okay, so these are your class numbers. Kindly remember your numbers. Can I sound off? Once you hear your name, I'll try to guess. Or no. Number one, can you just sound off? What's your nickname?
Jelly, sir. Hi, sir.
Jelly.
Yes.
Jelly. And then Jenin.
Yes. Yes, bro.
Number three is, what's your nickname? Jen?
Jen.
Jen.
Yes.
You make life difficult, girls. Jelly, Jenin, and Jen. First three. And then number four, I remember Abby.
Yes, sir, Abby.
Easy.
Yes, sir.
Demi.
Yes, sir, Demi.
And then Vic.
Yes, Prof.
Chi.
Yes, sir.
And then Enzo. Is that Enzo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then Robbie.
Yes, sir.
June.
Yes, sir.
Gia.
Yes, sir.
Mark.
Alfred, sir.
Alfred. So Alfred is the preferred. Chanda. Chanda, are you there? Okay, so Chanda is a little out. Alfred, can you take no. Michael, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Is it Michael or Mike?
Mike, sir.
Mike. And then what? John?
Yes, sir.
Marlo?
Yes, sir.
And then Christine?
Hi, sir.
And then what's your nickname?
Annie, sir.
Annie. All right, so pardon if I can't remember everything, but is Chanda there right now? Chanda, are you there? Chanda's not answering, or maybe she has sound problems. Mike, can you be number 14 and number 15 for this exercise? Alfred, can you be 13 and 21? And Abby, can you please be 4 and 20? All right, so I will show 21 lines. Remember your number, and once you see it, when it's the sequence, when it's your number that's being to be read, read it loud and proud. No? So that we will be continuous, can you all unmute your mics right now? Unmute. Okay. So again, please read your assigned lines. You don't need to read your number, but once you read it, please read it loudly, clearly, and passionately. Okay? There'll be a number before a line, and if you're that number, you have to read that line. After that, it goes to the next line and to the next line to the next line. So let's see if this is workable, doing it online. Let's go.
Today was the absolute worst day ever.
And don't try to convince me that there's something good in every day.
Because when you take a closer look,
The world is a pretty evil place.
Even if
Some goodness does shine through once in a while.
Satisfaction and happiness don't last.
And it's not true that
it's all in the mind and heart.
Because
True happiness can be obtained.
It's not true that good exists. I'm sure that you can agree that.
the reality
creates
My attitude.
It's all beyond my control.
and you'll never in a million years hear me say that.
day.
Okay. Hopefully you were reading it loud and proud for your number and when others were reading it. But overall, how did you feel with the sequence of thought? Is it a positive, a negative, an optimistic, a pessimistic series of thoughts? Anybody?
It's
Oh,
kind
you're
of
all
more of
unmuted. Huh?
it's kind of more of the optimistic approach.
Optimistic? Optimistic ba siya? Ano natin ha? Read
Sige,
it.
sir.
Read it. Don't read it now. Just don't read it loud. Just look at the sequence. Today was the absolute worst day ever, and don't try to continue. Blah blah blah. Try to read it and see if it's optimistic or pessimistic. Okay.
It's pessimistic, sir.
Yeah, more pessimistic pala siya.
Pessimistic, no? Parang ECQ yung dating.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm having trouble moving the what's happening? Okay, sorry. So okay, so that's one way to read it. The reverse way, we don't need to read it aloud, but now we read it from the bottom to the top. I'll read it for you. Today was a good day, and you'll never in a million years hear me say that it's all beyond my control. My attitude creates the reality, and it's not true that it's all in the mind and heart, because true happiness can be obtained only if one's surroundings are good. It's not true that good exists. I'm sure that you can agree that satisfaction and happiness don't last. Some goodness does shine through once in a while, even if the world is a pretty evil place, because when you take a closer look, there's something good in every day. And don't try to convince me that today was the absolute worst day ever. Okay? So, again, it was a little challenging because we're not in the same room. So much simpler if we were. But in the reverse reading, I would say that it, from a very pessimistic view or negative point of view, it became positive. Okay. Now, the question is, what happened? Why the change? It's the same set of statements, but the sequence of reading just changed, right? So the key premise for this philosophy is followers read from top to bottom, or if we were to create a name for that, ABC, but leaders do the reverse. They do Z, Y, X. Okay? So both reference the alphabet. Followers do ABC, leaders do Z, Y, X. Question is, who do you want to be? Which do you want to be, a leader or a follower? And if you want to be a leader, you have to use the ZYX approach. Okay, and it means start with the end in mind, the end being Z, and then do the reverse, finding out how that end can be delivered. Let me just again pose some more arguments why ZYX is better than ABC. Quick survey. Do you have a crystal ball at home? Try to answer it by yourself.
None,
No
sir.
crystal ball? No. No. If you have,
No.
then
None.
let's try to read the fortune.
Sir.
No, di ba? Second, if you had the crystal ball, assuming, and then you can accurately tell the future for only one question, what would you ask that crystal ball? So again, feel free to just unmute and sound off. What would you ask? What one question would you ask the crystal ball? Okay, anybody?
When will COVID go away?
Okay, good question. Anybody else?
When will I die?
Okay, next.
Will I get rich?
Okay, will you get rich? Let's try to limit the 3 questions there, no? Okay, because they're very different, right? So if you have one question and the question is, when will COVID what?
Go away, sir.
Go away. So the answer is say November 2020. What's the value for you with that answer?
I'll know, sir, that I can go to work na after November 2020.
Okay. Oh, syempre, that's very important, di ba? Okay, now the next question, when will I die? Okay, the answer is March 10, 2025. How does it help you that you know that you're gonna die on March 10, 2025?
I'll just live my life to the fullest. Until 2025. So, I'll
Okay.
spend my time more with my family, friends than working hard, than stressing me out.
So you'll not finish the MBA anymore, right? So what's the point? Okay. So the third question has, will I get rich? So the answer is no. So what's the value in that? Getting the answer no.
Maybe I'll try to be happy more than to get rich.
Okay. Okay. This is a what? A philosophical and a practical question. What's the most practical question you can ask that crystal ball? Supposing we're back to normal, meaning we can do a lot of the stuff that we can do, what is the most practical question that you can ask that offers value to you? Okay, let me propose. Wouldn't you want to know the winning lotto number on a specific date? You can only ask one question. Moving forward, don't ask the winning lotto numbers for the past, but for the future. If you get the answer, would that help you? For those who want to get rich, or those who are dying in 5 years, or those who won't go back to work, even if you can go back to work, would that answer to that question be of value? I think generally yes. right? So the reason I'm making that is because the question you ask or the objective you set will make a big difference to the value of the activity. If you ask the wrong question or a question that's not so important, then you get a not so important or not so practical answer, right? So let me just pose another argument. I suppose many of you use Waze to travel, to get to somewhere. And Waze is now something most of you are familiar with. But in our days, there was radio. You listen to the radio for traffic updates. Maybe as late as 2 years ago, people were still using the MMDA app, showing greens and reds for certain routes. Some use Google Maps. But the question is, why do we use Waze? Why do we use Waze? What does Waze do for you? Okay. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I thought it's already a question, but just to answer, we're using Waze for a sense of direction and a more accurate location of your destination.
Okay. And this is easy for destinations that you're not familiar with, right? It's the first time you're going there. Yeah, Waze makes a difference as far as accuracy. But for instance, for locations that we're familiar with, like the office or school, and you've been there thousands of times, why do you still use Waze?
Probably to know the traffic,
traffic situation, right? Now, why is Waze superior to, say, the MMDA app or a radio traffic update?
I think because of its of your past experience with it and the reliability of the app.
Okay.
And also, sir, it's more real time compared to the other information.
Yes, it's real time. And it's specific to the route that you're taking, right? If you had the MMDA app before, it would say EDSA going south, EDSA going north. And if you're not using that path, that update is totally useless, right? We also know that Waze is based on the data on Waze is based on the combined result of all people using Waze. Meaning, why are we sometimes misled by Waze going to side streets or to unusual paths? It's because it thinks those paths are clear with no traffic, because really they're what? Side streets, a lot of humps, maybe even dangerous because of too much people on the road. So, but in general, Waze works because it's based on real-time output from people using Waze. Okay, so what other value is Waze to us?
It saves time.
Saves time.
Yes, Prof.
Oh, meaning you get to your destination faster.
Yes, Prof.
Generally. Of course, it doesn't guarantee that, but again, general. So now, let me just, when you use Waze, what's the first thing you do? So yung philosopher will say, I turn on my phone. Yeah, your phone is
input the destination.
You enter the destination.
You input your destination. You cannot just use Waze without inputting your destination. So that's the first thing you do. Okay, now imagine, guys, if we were in Rockwell now and the class finishes at 9 and you type in you put your home as your Waze destination. Normally, your travel time is 30 minutes to 1 hour. So you key in that destination and suddenly Waze says it will take you 3 hours to get home. 3 hours to get home. Do you decide then not to go home? Because instead of 30 minutes, it's become 3 hours. You still go home, right?
Yes.
go to your objective of going home. Now, why do you want to go home? Because that's the only place where you will sleep. Probably that's the safe place to be, the cheapest place to be after school and then before work tomorrow morning. So there are a lot of good reasons to still go home despite the difficulties and the longer time that it may take you. So the Z to us, using the Waze analogy, is Z is the objective, Y is why you want to reach that objective, and if your Ys are strong enough, then even if it's difficult, you will still find ways to achieve your objective or reach your destination. Now, on another thought or another situation, supposing you committed to go to your friends after school, you'll meet up or just have a drink, and you agree on a destination. And again, normally it just takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes to go there. But the same situation happens. It says 3 hours to get there. Now, will you still go? It's just a friendly meeting. It's just barkada, kwento. Will you still go? Now, some of you will say, yeah, I still go. I'm committed to it. But some or majority won't. They will say, no. I'll be late going home. I can't go to the office tomorrow. So in that second case, the reasons for going are not strong enough to justify reaching the objective. So when there are difficulties, if the reasons are not strong enough, you might give up your objective. Okay? So in the ZYX philosophy, first thing that you have to do is to key in your objective. Identify what's the outcome that I want. Okay, describe it, paint a picture of it, be very clear about it. That's your Z. And then to make it compelling enough, you have to understand the reasons why you want that outcome. And that's the Y. The X in ZYX is really the many ways you can choose to reach the Z. So again, in our Waze story is, there are like 5 different ways to go home, and Waze will allow you to plot out or follow or adjust different routes to get there. Okay. The X's are not as important as the Y's or even the Z. They're just ways to reach your objective faster, more efficiently, more effectively. Okay, so that's the ZYX philosophy on a Waze note. Okay, so remember, if you look at Waze, sometimes it tells you to go right and you go left. It says do this, and when you have the experience, no, I'll still follow my instinct. So, but after not following Waze, it recomputes. It still adjusts so that you still reach the same outcome, the same destination, the same Z, right? So the value of the Waze or the ZYX philosophy is it keeps you focused on the destination or outcome. Have you heard of this? The best way to predict your future is to create it. Some people attribute this to Abe Lincoln, but instead of leaving the future to chance, you might as well create the future by doing the right things now and setting the future as your Z, backing it up with strong Ys, and then how to do it, the excess will just be a consequence of that. Okay. So creating Z, we have to break the barrier that is ABC. We have to keep the end in mind. We have to remember why. And then we discuss how to do it. So what is ABC? ABC is really an approach which can be described as chronological. You start with the first and do the second and do the third. it's sequential, and it's really saying that time is the most important thing in the story. On the other hand, Zay is the end in mind. Now, you probably have heard of the Covey statement, begin with the end in mind. Okay? If you look at it, this was 21 years ago. Begin with the end in mind. And the way Covey illustrated this was to think of yourself lying in a coffin, closed eyes, and the question is, what would you want people to say to you as they pass by your coffin? Okay, that's the ultimate end in mind. No? So if it was your wife or your children paying their respects and looking at you lying in the coffin, what would you want them to say? Okay, would you want them to say he was a great husband, provider, a good father, or would you want them to say otherwise? That's the ultimate Zay for life on earth. And the Covey is saying, if you have that end in mind, then you work backwards. First, why do you want certain things to be said? And then figure out the ways to achieve that Zay. That's the philosophy of the beginning with the end in mind. For those of you who run, it's imagining the finish line. Okay, and in many cases, the finish line in many races, the finish line is the same as the start line. You end where you start. Okay, just like us, we end where we start. And some who are very time conscious, limited time, you can actually shorten the time of watching a Netflix movie or a typical movie by starting first at the end, knowing who dies, who wins, what the final outcome will be, instead of watching from the front, from the very start. Yes, it's anticlimactic, not romantic, kills joys. It's what? How do you call it? When people reveal the outcome. What do you call people who do those for movies?
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
A spoiler, yeah. Right. You'll be a spoiler. But imagine how much time you would save if instead of watching the movie, a 2-hour movie, you watch the end, and if you find it interesting, then you go back to the front, to the very start, and then watch it. How many movies have we watched when you realize that the ending was so crappy, you just wasted 2 hours of your life? Okay, that's the same in reading books. No? If you want to get the most of it, it's suggested that you read the end. If you find it interesting enough, then go the usual ABC way of reading it. Okay, so the Zay is the end in mind. If we start with it, there's a better chance for us to achieve it, because all along, that's the only thing that we cannot change. The destination, which is your home, putting it in ways, you cannot change it. You cannot go to any other home, right? So why Zay? No, so for instance, if you're going to a faraway place like Baguio, Tagaytay, Tuguegarao, or go abroad like what, France or Canada, the first thing you need to decide is, okay, I'm going to that destination. And I'm going to that destination, say Canada. I'm going there on June 12, 2021. That's the start. You have to then justify, why am I going there? What are the reasons that will justify my going there? Blah, 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 blah. If your reasons are strong enough, then it's set. You have a destination, you have an outcome, and whatever happens, you will do whatever it takes as long as the reasons are strong enough to reach that destination. So you will know that the road will not be straight and easy. There will be challenges in traffic. There will be sudden roadblocks, bumps, people on the road. will not be straight and easy, but the challenges are a given in any worthwhile destination. So if you believe that the destination is worth it, you'll still work through all the challenges. So in business, the end in mind is normally contained in what we call the vision statement. Okay? The vision of a company answers the question, what's our end in mind? In the AGSB, one of the visions set before, I'm not sure if this has changed recently, but the vision is to be this, leading, blah, 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 to become a professional and ethical business leader committed to nation building. That's the vision of the AGSB. Companies have their own vision. People should have their own vision. Now, mission answers the question, what business are we in? So an excerpt from the AGSB mission statement is, we believe that expertise without integrity is empty, integrity without expertise is ineffectual, while expertise and integrity without service is irrelevant. So if I were to make that a diagram, it will be easier to remember. So this diagram says expertise without integrity, expertise alone is empty. This says integrity is ineffectual without expertise. Expertise and integrity together is irrelevant. And the only thing that works is if you have expertise, integrity, and service. Okay? So if you have all three, then you are aligned to the mission of the AGSB. So again, this is the Z of why the school is inviting leaders to enroll and learn the program, because hopefully, not hopefully, the outcome wanted is in the school, you get the expertise through what? The courses that we have. You develop that sense of integrity, that discipline of integrity, and the commitment to serve. If we have all three, then we are aligned to the vision and mission of the school. Okay, so service with expertise and integrity. Okay, so there are certain objectives for the course. I've not put it here. What I'll do is try to spread it through the synchronous sessions that we have. So by next week, we'll know which chapters, which topics will be for what dates. We'll discuss that later. But we have to remember why. So why? Why are we doing this? Why is it important to have a reference textbooks? Why is it important to do 1-minute introductions and all that? We have to justify why. And probably the biggest why for a marketing management student is, why is marketing relevant for you? Even if you're not a marketing practitioner. Well, there are two answers to that. Marketing is commonly referred to as the last mile. And second, it's the ultimate value maximizer. Okay? Two things why marketing is relevant and important for you to study as part of your MBA degree. It's the last mile and it's the ultimate value maximizer. So here's the last mile in picture. This is the bridge coming from somewhere, and it's the last segment coming to the other side. Okay? Does this bridge work without the last mile? It doesn't. It needs the last step to connect a very, very expensive and long span to the ultimate objective, which is to reach the customer. So if you don't have marketing, you don't connect with the customer, you're not able to develop that business relationship that allows you to do the other things for the company. So even in Strama and mostly in business, the last mile is usually marketing related. And unfortunately, for companies, they think of marketing only near the end. What do we mean by that? No? So first, companies do feasibility studies, get the money needed, the financial resources needed to do the work. They build a factory, they hire people to run the factory, they produce the product, they deliver to retailers and to points of sale, and then they do the marketing to sell the product. So in that sense, marketing is near the end, but really it's best to look at marketing from the very start. That's the start of it all. Who's my target customer? What does the customer need, want, and demand? How do I deliver it? So the Z is the marketing to the customer. It's the last mile, it's the Z. Okay. Here are common last mile failures. The customer says to you, I don't need the value you offer. Or I'm not even aware that your product is available. Or I know you're there, I know the value you offer, but I really prefer another brand. Or I try your product once, but I'm not happy, I go back to my old product. Or I try the product for a while, but having experienced inconsistency, I go back to the product that I'm familiar with. So these are common last mile failures because the sequence of thinking was ABC and not ZYX. All right, the second reason for why marketing is important for you, even if you're in other disciplines, is because it's the ultimate value maximizer. Why do we say that? So if you can imagine a plain white t-shirt sold at Tiange, whether it's Divisoria or Green Hills, a common white shirt might retail for a price of 50. You know, it's a plain white cotton t-shirt, no markings, no anything, nothing special. The retail price will be 50. You'd expect that the retailer has to pay costs, so they have to have a margin of, say, 10 pesos. So the retailer probably bought it from a wholesaler for 40. The wholesaler needed margin of 5, so the wholesaler bought it from the manufacturer at 35. The manufacturer had to put in materials, had to pay laborers, had to borrow money. So the manufacturer made a profit of 9 when it sold its price, this t-shirt, to the wholesaler at 35. So that's the value chain, all right? That's very typical. Now, if you wanted to maximize the value to the owner, which is the manufacturer, there are several things you can do. First, you can reduce your costs. Okay, so the manufacturer can substitute different materials to make the same product. Hopefully, the quality will be the same. So the ability to do that will be an operations type of effort. So if this student or this company studied operations management, they can reduce the cost of materials from 15 to 10. If they studied HR management and paid child labor and don't pay overtime, probably they can decrease their HR cost by 50% to 4. If they took financial management, they know when and where to borrow, they can reduce the cost of money. So by doing all of this, the manufacturer profit shoots up 156% from 9 to 23 because of the combined effects of operations, HR, and finance, right? So that's one way to do it. Increase it by 156%, by doing operations, HR, and finance. Or the other thing is going direct. No? So cut out the middleman. So don't use a wholesaler, go straight to the retailer. Combined with the previous effort, the increase in profit for the manufacturer increases to 244% or 31 pesos per unit just by going direct. So you can go digital, sell the t-shirt online, blah, 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 sell it in Lazada. So profits can increase to 244%. Now, one thing you can do, and it's being done in the Visoria and Green Hills, is just put a check mark on the t-shirt, and from selling it at the price of 50, some people can sell it as high as 900 pesos, right? And 900 is cheap. If that's really a Nike original, the retail price, Nike can sell it for 900 and boost its profit growth by 7,733%. All right? There's still more margins being earned by the retailer. The retailer has to have a higher margin. The wholesaler has to have a higher margin. Maybe the cost of materials is higher because it's a finer quality. The increased labor cost and cost of money. But even with all these increases, the profit growth for the owner increases 7,733%. So this is Nike selling its legitimate product with one check. Okay. Now we also know that fake Nikes are also being sold, not for 900, maybe for 100 pesos, right? But even the fake Nike brand, people buying the 100 peso shirts know that it's fake, but they're still willing to pay a premium from the normal 50 to 100, and that allows you to earn 444% just because of this one check mark. So this check mark is really a representation of what marketing, specifically branding, can do as far as the profitability of a company. So of course, this example is biased towards marketing because this is a marketing class. Let the other clusters do their own argument. But for this is my argument that if you do your marketing correctly, you will be the ultimate value maximizer. Now, let's take the story a bit further. Supposing you were in this class and your takeaway from this lecture is one check can increase my profits so much, and you have this brilliant idea of doing this, putting another check mark. Okay, so of course there's added cost to doing that, but instead of maximizing the value, you suddenly may even go beyond the retail price you could have sold that product. So this is what we call negative brand equity, where the branding actually is a negative to the value of the product. All right. So marketing can make you and can also break you if you don't do it right. So now we know why marketing is important for you. The last and probably the most least priority consideration is how we will do it. What to do to achieve the end in mind and remembering why we have to do it. What's our end in mind? The end in mind for this class is after this class, after the 15 synchronous and 15 asynchronous sessions, your expertise of marketing is much more than what you started with. Expertise that is relevant so that you can serve your companies, your families moving forward. Okay, so it just so happened that the situation right now forces us to go online. And in a way, that's a blessing to us because now we can leverage or multiply the power of technology, allow ourselves to work at our own pace and time, and be more professional about it while not giving up on the Z. Okay? The change in our approach from face-to-face, synchronous, to this online thing is just the X of it. The objectives remain. The reasons why we want to achieve the objectives are still the same. It's just we're changing the X, how we do it. Okay, so the X is what to do that answers the Y and that delivers the Z. All right, so that's the first lecture that we have. I hope you were there. Can you give me some encouragement by turning on your video and saying, yes, sir, I actually heard what you said.
Yes.
I heard you.
I heard what you said.
What you said, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we had yeah, quick reactions. Anybody? So that you're not, can you just, if you have the video on, you just raise your hand, I'll call you. So that we'll have some, okay, June.
Yes, sir. Basic impression is of what you've explained. I think the message really hit me because it's really natural for us like humans to think chronologically because we live we're basically influenced by time fundamentally.
Yes.
So like we start from the start and we see what happens as we do things. But I think it's really important to have in mind what we really want to achieve in the end, like what we want to be or what we want to do in the end, so that we will not be distracted along the way. We'll still be focused towards our target, and we'll be driven or motivated positively to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, dun lang sa Z, it has to be very, very clear. There has to be a time. You can paint a picture of it. Very, very smart. Specific, measurable, achievable, all that. No? So the Z must be very clear to you, and also the reasons why you want to achieve the Z. Okay. So thank you, June. Any other? Again, if you have your video on, raise your hand. I'll call you. If you don't have your video on, then click on the raised hand. I'll take note of it. Buddy? Yeah. Okay. So again, yes. Who's this?
I'm raising my hand kanina.
Yes, Mike.
Sir. I'm just wondering kasi dun sa kaninang discussion natin. Unahin muna yung ending. So parang medyo napaisip ako doon. Sabi ko, parang wala nang surprises. Wala nang sa life. Parang yun yung naisip ko na, ano bang magiging motive kung titingnan ko na agad yung end? When in fact, yung parang na-relate ko lang siya na yung destination is much more meaningful than yung journey is much more meaningful than the destination itself. Parang ganun lang.
Okay. So, there are certain situations where you don't want the ending to be known. Di ba, a basketball game? You don't want to know the ending, right? There's no more joy in watching things like that, knowing the ending, right? But do you want that in business, in your family life? You don't know the ending, whether you'll be happy or not, and then leaving it to time and circumstance. Pwedeng masaya, pwedeng hindi, okay lang. Diba? Kaya I started this. Do you want to predict your future? You don't need to predict your future. You can create your future. But by knowing I want this, and then you start with that going backwards. Okay. So agree, Mike? Yeah, in certain,
Yes,
I
sir.
don't,
Yes, sir. It's case to
I
case
don't
basis.
know when I want to die. So you know your dying date. Di ba? Okay,
Sir,
yeah.
I'm raising my hand.
Yes.
Sorry. Easy po, Ezekiel. Just to give us my feedback dun sa lesson for today. It's dun sa pagkakaintindi ko sa ZYX. You need to have a goal always po. It reminded me the movie yung Happy Feet. Kasi sinabi dun sa napaka-pambata, Happy Feet, but it has a lesson na hanggang ngayon I still remember. It says there na if you want something, if you want it, you must will it. And if you will it, you will have it. It's the same like the ZYX. Like you need to have the objective, and you need to find the reason why you want that objective, and you need to have the willpower, or you need to dedicate yourself on reaching that.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Yung dedication will be easier if the whys are strong enough. Meaning, yeah, I know why I have to go home tonight. Di ba? Not tomorrow, not if, di ba? I need to go home tonight. Diba?
Yeah.
So, if I will micro focus this to this course, you have to then identify what is the Z I want by the end of this course and why do I want that? Okay? If that is very clear to you and the whys are very strong, then doing all the stuff we will be doing will be easy even if it's hard, even if it takes time. If you find the ultimate value maximizer philosophy, if you can maximize your value as a professional, as a leader, then all the stuff we will do easy and it's part of the process. You quoted a movie. There's this movie, In the Pursuit of Happiness. I think it was Will Smith.
Yes.
Happiness is the end,
Yeah.
right? But I think a better movie will be Happy in the Pursuit of Happiness. So both the objective or the end and the process are important. So happy in the pursuit of happiness. Then that makes it even better, right? Okay, any other quick reactions? Marlo.
Thank you, sir. Sa realization ko, I have two. First is yung word na strong. Because it's easy for me to always give a reason. And sometimes I wonder, bakit hindi siya natutuloy? So it's really that one word which is strong really made the difference. Like, tapos second would be, this is just another example that in application, it doesn't always needed na we start off with the with the course itself. Like it started off with me, with the person, and then relating it to the course. Like I'm trying to understand myself first, and then trying to make myself better or more stronger. And then with the strong capabilities that I'm gonna have, I can do more to others, like my company and my family.
Yeah. Correct, Marlo. So maybe part of the Z or one of your Z's is to understand yourself, right? That's why uh, taking the MBA or taking this marketing course is just an X to get to your objective. Okay. So I'll be referring to ZYX constantly in the course. Um, so that's me. Anybody else with a quick reaction? We have like 10 minutes to go. Hi, Jem. Yes.
Yes, sir. For my side po, with the ZYX, it's more of foundation principle that will guide us towards the direction or the process. But sir, yung picture kanina ng bridge for the marketing, business perspective-wise, ang nag-struck sa akin, sir, that marketing could be two sides. It could bring more value to your business or to your brand as a person, but it could also deteriorate. So if you sense the wrong message, if you give the wrong message, it could actually it could be better or it could be worse. So for me, sir, yun yung naging nag-struck sa akin. Kahit anong ganda ni HR ni operations, if hindi mo
palpak
inayos
si
yung marketing
marketing.
mo.
Yeah. Yun nga eh. Kaya important siya, even if you're not part of the marketing group, right?
Yes.
It's very important in the sense that in the end, that's the way we connect to customers. And the customers are our lifeline. They provide the revenue, right? There's nobody else providing the revenue. It's the customer. So the link to that is the marketing. And if you do it right, well and good. If you do it wrong, it's the entire company that suffers. Thank you, Jem. Mike, are you still raising your hand? Or you need to lower it if you.
Tapos na, sir.
Tapos na. Okay, so again, there'll be more discussions to this. But again, in context, ang pinakamagandang analogy ko dito ay yung ways, di ba? The destination, going home tonight, doesn't change. Why you want to do it tonight, even if it's traffic, all that, we know that. And then, the excess, kahit na pinaliko ka, na traffic ka, nasiraan ka, nawalan ka ng gas, that's okay. You need to adjust, right? It's just a way to get to the destination because you know why you want to get to the destination. So the online nature of our class is just an X, right? The objective of the course is still the same as if it were non-COVID or we were doing face-to-face. It's still the same. And while the school will have its own objective, I challenge you guys, think of the reason why marketing management, what's the Z for you in taking this class? I know it's not optional, it's a required course, no? But maybe try to find the reason, why would I want to excel? Why would I want to put in effort to really maximize your marketing management? It used to be that marketing management was 2 courses, marketing 1, marketing 2. To you guys, this is the only marketing course for the entire MBA, unless you take electives. So you have to figure it out. What's my Z being in this course, and why is that Z important? All right. So just a summary. So I'll post in our Viber group the class list. You form groups by yourselves. Once a group of 4 is complete, post it. Be sure that the members agree to be part of that group. All right. Another requirement for that group, instead of calling you group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, find a name that is related to our current situation of COVID and social distancing and all of that. No? So find a group name that's related to that, post it, and that will be our grouping for the group work that we will do. All right, post it on Viber. What else? So we'll not see each other on Monday. The assignments are due on Monday. Where to post it, I will put on Viber and Blackboard. And then when the submission time is 7:30, okay, there will be a big deduction to late submissions, but you can still submit. And then once you go to Blackboard or Viber on Monday, 7:30, you'll see the new 1-week assignments, whether it's individual or group. And then you'll have 1 week to submit them again. All right? Is that fair enough? Clear for everybody?
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Sir, regarding the assignment on the LinkedIn, there was a mention of links to websites and as well as other media. So, do we really have to put it, or I mean, if it's applicable lang?
If it's applicable only, let me just quickly go through a sample just to clarify what's important. Oh, right. Am I still screen sharing? No. Just share screen. Thanks for the questions. Where's the LinkedIn? Medyo mabagal. No? So I'll highlight what's important. Bagal lang. Okay. Go to the picture.
Sir, sorry, sir.
Yes.
May class, sir. Sir, kailangan talaga nakasmile, sir.
Oh, pwede naman nakasimangot. Yung passport picture, di ba? Bawal ngumiti. Pag passport picture. Okay. Di ba? So, ito yung hinahanap ko talaga. Number 1, customized. Yung URL. You have to change it. There's a step to customize it. Okay. Second, colored photo. Cover photo.
Okay, sir.
So this is Ateneo, no? But I'm with the Ateneo, so I don't mind plagiarizing this photo. Okay, so you can use it too if you can find it. That's fine. If that's what you want to be identified with, that's fine. Third, it's a recent smiling colored solo professional photo. So no crop ups, nobody behind you, diba? It's a solo photo. Okay. The elevator speech, my elevator speech, if we were to meet in the elevator, sir, what do you do? I'm a vision-driven coach, igniter, and transformer. You know it's right when you can say it in 5 seconds, 10 seconds, plus more than that, it would drive the question. It would answer the question, what do you do? But then it will also initiate a second question. What do you mean by vision-driven coach? What do you mean by igniter? So that's a good elevator speech. You can say it very quickly. Don't need to memorize it. It just comes out. And then when you say it, it's also triggers a second question of what do you mean? Okay. Now, number 5, of course, I have a lot of connections. If you have LinkedIn before, fine, you may easily have more connections, but my requirement for this class is you have at least, by the end of this course, at least 20 connections. Why do I mandate 20 connections? Because there are 19 of you and 1 of me. So let's just connect with one another. That's already 20. But again, this is not just for the class. You can connect with other people as well. And it really, I'll explain why this is important as far as making your LinkedIn profile work for you. Okay. And then current professional affiliations. If you're affiliated to companies or to schools, you link to their websites. It's seen here. It creates more value to you. Now, why do I say LinkedIn is important? If I go here now and I sort of Google, see me Googling my name, and somebody were to try to understand who I am or what I do, it comes out second in the Google search. Without paying anything, it comes out second. Try to Google your name and find what appears when you Google it. Okay? So the Ateneo link comes out because the edu, any .edu.gov has a high Google ranking. But if you make a good enough LinkedIn profile, have enough connections, have a fair share of recommendations, then it will come out free. And people wanted to know about you professionally, then you would want it to come out top of page. You don't want your Facebook page coming out at top, because Facebook, it's not really for professional branding or professional marketing. All right, so that's my recommendation why you want to do your LinkedIn profile and build it now. All right, so any other questions for the 2 assignments? Yes.
Related to LinkedIn as well. Wala naman po. Sorry.
Yes, go.
Wala naman deduction, sir, pag kasi hindi naka-neutral face ka. So
wala naman. Wag lang nakasimangot o nakalabas yung dila, no? Parang Michael Jordan. Basta mukhang professional ka pa rin. Okay? So connect, no? So
okay,
you know the class, connect.
Last question, sir.
Yes.
Do we need to specify yung ginagawa namin sa work or just affiliation is enough?
Let me just quickly, I used to require more details, pero times have changed eh. Times have changed. So yung details ko is just the company and the period. No?
Yeah.
So there was a point in time I put details, how many people, revenues, etc. But times have changed. So if you wanted a reference, try to link at my current profile. That's the way I want your LinkedIn profiles. But the most important things are what I showed you, the 6 things. Those are the most important.
Okay, sir.
Dun
Thank you very much.
Dun sa 1-minute introduction, it can be a professional introduction or it can be a personal one. So it's up to you. It doesn't have to be professional.
Sir, in relation to the 1-minute video, pagka nagawa na po namin at in-upload, do we need to tell you or how do we communicate?
I'll tell you where to post the link. Okay? I'll tell you where to post the link. Diba dati you have to submit a CD, email the video, diba? It's so hard, diba? Now it's easy, just upload on YouTube, get the link, and post the link. That's where we'll see it. Okay. Guys, a little overtime on this. The online philosophy of Ateneo says that part of the learning is you doing it. It's one. Me showing it by demonstration. But third, it's you learning from how others did it. Okay. So don't be surprised on Monday that one of the assignments you have to do is to evaluate and look at the submissions of a selected group. So my simple way of doing it, if you're group 1, you will be asked to evaluate and give feedback to, say, group 4. Okay, so you have to look at the videos and the LinkedIn profiles of all the members of group 4. Okay, so now you are forced to, again, see their work, compare it to what you did, find things that are good, find things that can be improved for them and for you, and that multiplies the learning. All right? So don't be surprised if one of the assignments for Monday will be look at the LinkedIn profile and videos of the other group and then give feedback. All right? I won't require you to look at everybody else's, but if you want to learn, then that's fine. But the only requirement is to assess another group and all the members of that other group. All right? So it will be 1 week before we become synchronous again. But on Monday, I'll be sure to post it around 7:30. And if I can answer questions, allow me to answer any questions or clarifications via Viber from 7:30 to midnight. Now, it's not exactly 7:30 to 9 because, again, our philosophy is asynchronicity. We don't have to be at the same time. Allow me to answer them until about 12 midnight of Monday. And then we'll also discuss some of it during the Thursday synchronous meeting. All right, so I hope this night was worth it as far as aligning how we are doing the course. I look forward to the groups helping make this more fun and exciting, and you'll see how we'll do it through the Monday assignment. Okay, so that's it. Unless there are questions, any more questions? Hearing none, I hereby declare this class complete. Achieving our J. Good night. Bye.
Thank you very much,
Bye,
Prof.
sir. Happy
Ingat,
weekend.
sir. Good night.
Hey, sir.
Good night. Thank you.
Ingat
Bye,
ka.
sir. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.